Okay, the court is on the record in the City of Pontiac versus Amber R. McHenry, case number 24 TRD 527. Court is in receipt of a pretrial report. Mr. Lewis.
Thank you, Your Honor. We may have a resolution of the matter, should the court be willing to accept it, whereby the city would dismiss the fictitious plate charge at defendant's cost, and Ms. McHenry would then enter plead guilty to the two remaining charges of failure to reinstate, driving under suspension, and expired plates. The city would then recommend whatever fines the court would deem appropriate along the court costs of the case. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Sayaj.
Thank you, Your Honor. I did convey the offer from law director Lewis to my client, Ms. McHenry, after extensive talks and going over what she would be waiving today. She has decided today that she would take the plea offer along with the state's recommendation of just court costs and fines.
Okay, Ms. McHenry, it's my understanding today that you wish to change, you originally entered no plea to charges of failure to reinstate an unclassified misdemeanor and expired plates, a minor misdemeanor. You wish to enter guilty pleas to those two charges. In exchange for those guilty pleas, the fourth-degree misdemeanor charge of fictitious plates would be dismissed at your cost. Is that what you would like to see happen today?
I believe so.
You understand by pleading guilty to those charges that you would be waiving your right to the jury trial that is currently scheduled at the end of the month, as well as all of your trial rights. We just had a trial last week, so you kind of know what a trial is like. So by pleading guilty to these two charges, you'd be waiving all of those trial rights. Is that what you wish to do?
Would that put an end to litigation?
Yes, it would.
No.
I'm sorry?
Yes.
Okay. Also, you are represented by Mr. Sayaj. Have you had sufficient time to consult with him, and are you satisfied with his counsel?
Yes.
Okay. I do find that the defendant's pleas of guilty to these minor and unclassified misdemeanor offenses in subcase A and B, failure to reinstate and expired plates, to be knowing, voluntary, and intelligent. The court will accept the guilty pleas to those two charges, and I will therefore find her guilty of those offenses. I will dismiss at the defendant's cost the fictitious plates charge.
So after claiming that the courts had no jurisdiction over her, and then going off on that unhinged Facebook rant, she's finally come to the conclusion that laws do actually apply to her, and that she actually broke some now, whether she truly believes that laws do apply to her, or this is just some ruse to get to the end of litigation, as she put it, has yet to be seen. But just in case this is just her best impression of a normal human being, the judge had this warning for.
Ms. McHenry, I did not impose community work service. I could have. I did not impose a Class 7 license suspension. I could have on the failure to reinstate charge. I've just given you a fine and cost, although I'm ordering you to provide proof of insurance on the vehicle you're driving that day. If you're not able to provide to the clerk proof of insurance on the vehicle you're driving that day, you are subject to what we call a non-compliance suspension with the Bureau of Motor Vehicles. I guess what I'm saying is, Ms. Henry, I could have sentenced you in a much more severe way. I did not. But understand that if you're back here with similar offenses and you're found guilty of those, I will impose those. What I didn't do today, I would do at a later time.
Like I said, we'll see if she's truly changed her ways, or if when she leaves the courthouse she heads directly to the first lickable window. Now for our next hearing, we're going to head to Georgia to watch one of my favorite judges, Judge Tammy Hayward. Now, I love watching Judge Tammy Hayward because she has such a nice and kind way of telling people that they're ignorant and have no idea what they're talking about.
This case is LaTanya Denise Turner versus Brian K. Widener, State of Georgia, Salah Holdings, Delphine Gresham, and Larry W. Johnson. All right, is there Ms. Turner, LaTanya Denise Turner?
Yes, I'm the attorney, in fact, on behalf of the principal, who is the resident agent. I have also already submitted forms appointing the judge over this matter to administrate on behalf of the principal. And I also submitted the rest of my entries on records. Now, with that being said, the Form
Ms. Turner,
56
Ms. Turner,
appointing judge.
Ms. Turner, I gotta see you first.
Okay. I'm trying to, there I go.
Okay, there you are. All right, so
Okay.
Ms. Turner, very quickly. I've reviewed the information that you provided. First of all, you're suing with respect to a foreclosure, which is a situation that involves land and a determination of ownership with respect to land. That is not my jurisdiction. I'm in state court. State court does not have jurisdiction over determinations of land. We deal with dispossessories, which is a temporary situation with respect to land, the allowing someone to use your land in exchange for rent or your property in exchange for rent. But we do not deal with the whether a foreclosure is proper. So in this case, this court is going to have to transfer your case to the Superior Court of Clayton County, depending on whether this is Clayton County that's involved. And so I see you're suing the state of Georgia. Not sure how they're involved. Not sure how any of these parties are really have an interest in this case. But with respect to the jurisdiction with for foreclosures, that is not what I do. Okay. All right. Is there anyone else here on behalf of any of the other parties who either disagree with what I've said or who have anything that they would like to put on the record?
So, Your Honor, this is Larry Johnson. I
Yes.
represent Brian Widener as well as myself. I just
Okay.
want to point out to the court, this was initially filed and I was not named. And
Okay.
after I filed an answer on behalf of Mr. Widener, the plaintiff just stuck my name and added it to it without a court order. And at that
Okay.
point in time, she needed a court order. So I'm not personally, I mean, I'm only in this case because I filed an answer for
Yeah.
Mr. Widener.
Intended to name me too.
Yeah. Judges and attorneys have judicial immunity from civil liabilities pertaining to cases they oversee, meaning you can't sue a judge or an attorney just because they rule against you or represent the other side.
So, Ms. Turner, I know you have a set of beliefs about how the law works, but the way we do it here is just because somebody files on behalf of another person, everybody's entitled to have an attorney represent them. And so you can't then sue the attorney for giving them a defense. So everybody who comes into the case doesn't get sued individually. Like there are people who are responsible, allegedly, for what you are contending happened. But then there are other people who they choose to hire to help them navigate the case. For the people who are navigating the case and for the judges who are dealing with the case, you don't get to sue them because they don't have an interest in at that level. They're just trying to help the other person navigate the case, okay?
Could I get finished recording my interest on record?
No, ma'am. You've done that. You're the plaintiff.
Okay. Well, Judge.
Yeah, judges and attorneys have judicial immunity from civil liabilities pertaining to cases they oversee, meaning you can't sue a judge or an attorney just because they rule against you or represent the other side.
I'm the attorney of fact on behalf of the principal, who is the registered agent. I already submitted the Form 56 upon you over the matter to administration on behalf of our principal.
Ms. Turner, nobody gets to appoint me over the case. I'm already appointed to whatever's assigned to me through the clerk's office.
I appointed you through my for my trustee. And Your Honor, I would like to add also to the case and ask you a question.
No, ma'am.
Yes or no?
The question that I'm not going to answer any questions because this is not my jurisdiction. I'm going to transfer the case to Superior Court and let them sort it out because land use and land and interest in land is under the jurisdiction of the Superior Court. Okay, so we'll get you an order. We'll also dismiss Mr. Larry Johnson from the case pending whatever the Superior Court decides because he's only here to represent the defendant, which the defendant has a right to hire an attorney to represent them, and that attorney doesn't deserve to be sued because they are helping somebody defend themselves.
This case is also in the federal court also.
Okay, then if it's in federal court, then it probably doesn't need to be here also. You shouldn't have a case running in two different courts at the same time. Okay, that's just going to cause confusion. And you're not going to achieve what it is you wish to achieve.
Okay, Your Honor, I know this court has no jurisdiction per 12 CFR 1500.
Well, I actually looked up 12 CFR 1500, and nowhere in it does the word jurisdiction appear, nor does the word jurisdiction, judge, attorney, or any of those other words that you would think would appear. But still, I think a point here needs to be made that she doesn't think the courts have jurisdiction over her, but they sure as hell do over everybody else.
And also, is there or should there be an investment in private residential property in the United States? Or
Ma'am,
is
ma'am,
deposit?
that is a question bigger than any of us can handle. People can invest in whatever they spend their money on. So at this point, I think that you're going a little bit too far afield. Like I said, we're going to go ahead and transfer this case to Superior Court, and my brother or sister judges on Superior Court will help you sort out what it is going on. Okay. All righty. So we'll go ahead and get an answer out to all of you. Get an order out to all of you, transferring this case to Superior Court. But just as an aside, Miss Turner, everybody who comes in as a representative of somebody else, if they're an attorney, don't sue them, because it just makes the case harder to get through. Okay, if you want to achieve something with respect to finding out what happened with your foreclosure, don't keep adding people to the
Your Honor, in this executive branch of law, I have a right to sue the attorney, anyone else
Okay,
involved.
Miss Turner,
In this executive branch, I do have a
Ms.
right to
Turner,
sue them and
everything
anyone else involved.
is nonsense. None of what you're saying makes sense. None of what, Ms. Turner,
It's
trust me.
federal law.
Ms. Turner, we're not in federal court. None of what you're saying makes sense. You haven't established an estate. There's no trustee. You're giving us word salad. You're just saying stuff that you've read or somebody told you was appropriate. It's essentially called a sovereign citizen, but
no, it's not a sovereign. It's not. I'm not a sovereign citizen.
If those things
No,
work,
don't put
everybody would
don't put that on me. I'm not a sovereign citizen.
Turner, you've made statements that sovereigns use, and so
I have my trust set up, and
Okay.
I'm not a sovereign citizen.
Yes, ma'am.
I am a person working in my trust.
Okay,
Not a sovereign citizen.
all right,
That's
Mr.
against the law.
Okay,
I'm not a sovereign citizen. So I have my trust set up
okay,
in a way that it's working for me, and I have it set up.
okay.
And that's what I'm working on, my trust.
You're an idiot and a sovereign citizen. And while I highly recommend not drinking the soft tardy and Kool-Aid, it's